Hi, welcome to Comptroller's Corner. I'm your host, Pat Curry, joined as always by Buffalo Comptroller Mark Schroeder. Our top story today, the Comptroller has issued a report that found that a program designed to provide needy residents with emergency home repairs spends more on administrative costs like payroll than actual repairs. The report also found that despite the resources devoted to administering this program, the average repair takes more than a year to complete. Now, Mark, these are income-eligible residents with emergency situations in their home, like a roof or a furnace or a hot water tank that needs to be replaced. And the program that is designed to meet these needs is falling short despite the amount of resources that are being spent to administer this program.
Yeah. Patrick, this has been happening consistently. We in the Comptroller's office, we're ringing the bell. We're letting them know. And so Audit and Control, the Comptroller's office have been involved with this since the federal government got us involved in this about 3 years ago. And so it's very, very discouraging to me. And as you know, Patrick, I go to every single neighborhood in the city of Buffalo. And when little old grandmothers come up to me and tell me that it's raining in their living room, and I ask them some of the key questions, did you go through this process? And it becomes very clear to me, time after time after time, the system is not working. And so therefore, I have let the mayor know, I have let Commissioner Mahaffey know, we've let the Buffalo Common Council know. It's not working, so do something about it. So to your beginning statement, 54% of the money goes to administrative cost, right?
Such as payroll for the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency, or Bureau.
54%. Now, if you were a citizen of Buffalo and you were going to give to a charity, and you knew that the charity was going to take 54% and put it somewhere else and not help the people, would you give to that charity? No, this is taxpayer money. And so I've had it with this administration, I've had it with the Commissioner of Office of Strategic Planning. He ought to be down with Bureau doing this work. They're not doing it. And so they better heed the call from us right now, because it's a point right now, Patrick, where I am not going to go around this city anymore and have to listen to citizens who are eligible and who are being ignored. And it's just it's something that's very, very disappointing to me.
Now, in addition to only 46 cents on every dollar going to actual repairs, you're also concerned that despite the amount of resources spent on administering this program, it still takes more than a year for these repairs to go through, and that's a year that a resident is sitting with a broken furnace or a leaky roof. And there's other possible solutions that the city can look into to try to shorten the amount of time it takes to process these repairs and to reduce the administrative costs.
Right, but you know what? Before you can identify solutions, you need to know that you have a problem. So when the Commissioner Mahaffey goes to the Common Council and says to them that it only takes about 90 days from beginning to end to process all of this. Really? It takes 411 days. So it's a lie. And so you have to stop. You have to look at yourself, you have to look at the organization, and you have to do better. And if you can do better yourself, do better. If you can't, give it to an organization across the city that can do it.
Now, you've looked at a similar city to Buffalo, Rochester, right down the thruway, and they actually administered this program on a grant basis. Rather than loaning this money out, they were able to save money on administrative costs by eliminating the whole loan aspect of it and going directly to a grant for these residents that are income eligible as it is. And they could probably have better spent their money on their grocery bill and their heating bill than paying back this loan. So you think that Rochester might be a good example for Buffalo to look at for ways to do it better, and without having to worry about closing on a loan and processing that paperwork, it could shorten the amount of time that it takes to do these repairs.
So Patrick, if some of our viewers go back maybe a couple of years ago on the Comptroller's Corner. We've talked about this time after time after time. We've even identified other communities outside of Rochester who do something different to provide this service to citizens of Buffalo. But this administration refuses to do it. They're in denial about this, and they get away with it. They get away with it, so this is the way that they're going to do it.
So this is roughly about a $2.5 million program that the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency contracts with the city to administer. With the average loan being approximately $7,000, $8,000 of that goes to these administrative costs. So there's got to be a better way, in your opinion, to
there is a better way. And so, listen, let's be fair here. The federal government puts in about $20 million a year to Buffalo. And the administration and Bureau and the Commissioner of the Office of Strategic Planning, they have responsibility to that money. And so, for the most part, in some of the other programs, I would say they're going to get an average score. They're doing all right. There's some programs that are pathetic. This is one of them. It's pathetic. And so they need to do something about it. It's real simple.
Now we're talking about emergency repairs and making sure that homes are inhabitable in our city. The Comptroller, Governor Cuomo actually charged you with a special task of doing inspections of homeless shelters in the city of Buffalo. He mentioned it in his State of the State address, which you attended in Albany, and you have this new job of inspecting these homeless shelters. There's about a little more than a dozen in the city of Buffalo that provide emergency housing to homeless residents, and you're going to team up with your partners in the city and the county to do these inspections and make sure that these living spaces are adequate and safe for residents that fell on hard times.
So just so the citizens of Buffalo understand, this governor, Andrew Cuomo, when he was in his 20s, he began these non-for-profit homeless shelters in New York City. So his heart is really in this. And he realizes, listen, Patrick, there's 8 million people in New York City, right? And there's 636 homeless shelters in New York City. There's 14 here in Buffalo. But the governor always looks at initiatives statewide. He has responsibilities to our state, just not to the city of New York. And so therefore, we want to do a better job. And I always give credit, even though I'm very upset with this mayor and Commissioner Mahaffey, on what we just talked about with the grant programs. But I can tell you on this project of the homeless shelters, the mayor has been extremely cooperative. His Office of Inspections, the Commissioner Jimmy Comerford and Lou Petrucci, they have been very, very cooperative and very helpful. Also, the county executive, Mark Polenkars, has been extremely helpful, and social services in terms of making this project work, in terms of how the governor identified what needs to be done in a very short period of time, and we're going to do it. There's a checkoff list of many things that we want to look at to make sure that the homeless shelters in Buffalo are safe, are clean, are up to code, and so we have begun this, and we probably will be able to complete it within the next little while and be able to talk about this again on another Comptroller's Corner show.
So one of the things you're checking is that the buildings are in good shape, and that's why you need the assistance of the building inspectors from the city of Buffalo, and you mentioned Commissioner Comerford and Building
really
Inspector
good.
Lou Petrucci have been very cooperative in this.
Good.
And the other aspect is that the health and safety of these residents is often overseen by the county, which provides funding to these emergency homeless shelters.
Right. Yes.
Now that's why you're meeting with the county executive Polenkars, so you can work with them on inspecting these facilities, because they know them very well, because they oversee them, and they make them go through a rigorous process to make sure that they're providing good services to homeless residents.
Yeah. So what we did is we understood what the objective is, and then we had to figure out how to go about it. And so I looked at this very objectively, and I realized that you have to take advantage of the resources that we have in the city of Buffalo, the inspectors. You have to take advantage of the social services provided by Erie County. Then I went to our city auditor and told the city auditor we have a responsibility for this report. And so we are going to assign the city auditor and 4 auditors to work with all of us to make sure that this is sound, it's real, it's good, and it's accurate.
And you're looking to do this, the inspections out here in the month of February, hopefully have everything wrapped up so that by March you can put together a report and just tabulate the results and find out where the city of Buffalo homeless shelters are as far as how great of a service they provide to homeless residents and where they could improve.
Yeah, there's no question. All of the centers in Buffalo and Erie County, they provide a great service to those who are in need. But because of the governor's concern and what he sees, he wanted really to do this in a comprehensive way. We understand it, we get it. We're doing it in a cooperative way, and we're going to be able to give the governor the information that he needs.
Okay, Mark, we got to take a brief break, but when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about your popular annual financial report, which you issued last week.
Perfect. Thanks, Patrick.
Stay tuned for more Comptroller's Corner after this.
The Buffalo Employment and Training Center is your one-stop source. The center conveniently brings employment, training, and other workforce services to customers and employers in a one-stop environment. And the center is open and free to anyone seeking employment. If you are out of work, not happy with your current job, or are looking to improve your computer skills, the Buffalo Employment and Training Center is right for you. We are conveniently located in downtown Buffalo at 77 Goodell Street with plenty of free parking. So, what are you waiting for? Give us a call at 856-JOBS. That's 856-JOBS today.
Hi, welcome back to Comptroller's Corner. In an effort to share the Buffalo's financial information in a more user-friendly format, Comptroller Schroeder has issued his 3rd popular annual financial report. This report includes information on the city's finances as well as the city's educational system, its government, demographics, and economic development projects. Now, Mark, this is your 3rd popular annual financial report.
Right.
Your first 2 won a certificate of excellence from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States. You're looking for that same recognition this time around. You think this is your best report yet?
Yeah, there's no question about that. But the real recognition comes from the citizens of Buffalo because, Patrick, they really like this. They like it and they expect it now. This is our 3rd one, as you mentioned. And this is not something that we have to do. There are certain things in an audit and control and in a controller's office that you're required to do. This is not one of them. So we do it because we want the citizens of Buffalo to understand that we get it. We know how their money is being spent, and we want them to see it either on the website or in a pamphlet form of which they can have. And as I've stated before, I go to every community center in every neighborhood in this city. I bring them with me, and I'm very, very proud of it. And also, many of the citizens know that not only are you the host of this show, but you also work in the Comptroller's office. And without Patrick Curry's skill and experience and great writing technique, we wouldn't be able to do this PAFR. And along with a few other people in our office, the First Deputy Ann Forti-Sciarrino, and also Claire Waldron, who is a certified public accountant, who's a special assistant, and they just know what to do. It's accurate, it's good information, and I'm very, very proud of all of you, but I'm mostly proud of this booklet that the citizens of Buffalo do treasure, and I know it.
Now, the comprehensive annual financial report, which is the source material for all the information provided in here, is a very thick document. It's about 150 or so pages.
Of numbers.
Pretty much. No pictures like this.
There's no pictures.
And also, it's very dry reading. And if you're not a trained accountant, it'd be tough to interpret the numbers, but what this report does is it puts it in layman's terms.
Yeah.
So you could look at the city's budget almost like a household budget, see where it's spending money, see where it's getting money in,
Yeah.
and then also learn more about the community
That's a very good point. The CAFR, which you just referenced, that is required. We are required to do it annually. But if I were to give 179 pages of numbers to somebody, they'd probably give it right back to me, right? Something like this, they appreciate because they can understand it. People are busy. People are busy in the city of Buffalo. They have responsibilities to work. They have responsibilities to their family. They have responsibility to service to their community. And so they have a right to know how the city of Buffalo is spending their money. And this is a 7, 8, 9-page booklet. It's very, very comprehensive, and the citizens like it. And we're going to continue to provide it for them.
Now, in addition to producing this report, I also take the pictures. I would like to encourage residents to go visit the lighthouse that's on the front cover. You can get there, you got to park your car and walk past the Coast Guard station, but any resident can go up, and it was closed to the public for years. But thanks to the efforts of Brian Higgins, it's open to the public, and residents can see this up close. It's one of the oldest structures, if not the oldest, in the city of Buffalo, built in 1833.
It's absolutely beautiful. The city of Buffalo was incorporated in 1832. And so I have a 6-mile run that I do every day. And I encourage you, Patrick, to run with me, and other citizens of Buffalo who are watching the show. You can run with me for 6 miles, and I can give you the grand tour of that beautiful old building.
So if residents want to get this, they can find it both on our website in electronic form. That's city-buffalo.com/controller. Or if you want this hard copy, which is a very convenient size, we can mail them right to your house. Just call us at 851-5255. Or you can send us an email, and you can find that email address on the City of Buffalo Controller's website. That again, city-buffalo.com/controller. Or just give us a call at 851-5255. Now, Mark, you go to community meetings to share this report with residents. One community meeting you went to recently was at the North Park Library. Now, the North Park Library just got designated landmark status, I believe. And tell us a little bit more about the meeting you attended and the efforts to save this building.
So what I do is I really do enjoy going across the city, going to different neighborhoods, and just kind of sitting in and listening to what's on the citizens' mind. And when I went there, I brought 25 of our PAFers, Patrick, and it was really nice. The people who were running the meeting that night, they just took the PAFers and they handed them out to everybody because they expect it. They've seen it before. But this is troubling to me, what happened at North Park Library. Again, I believe the city of Buffalo got way ahead of themselves without getting proper input from the neighborhood, especially the neighborhood of the Delaware and Hurdle folks. And so they went to a meeting. There were 100 people there. The city of Buffalo jumped the gun. They did an RFP process, and they brought a developer in to talk about this brand new building that's going to be on their corner, of which the citizens didn't really want to hear about that at all. They wanted to know, how do you preserve the old, beautiful library, and how do you preserve the green space that has been there forever? That's what was on their mind. And so it occurred to me that there was something missing here. And then, shortly thereafter the meeting, the designation came, making it a national landmark. So now the city of Buffalo has trouble. There's trouble in paradise now. Now what do? The citizens don't want the building knocked down in the first place. And I understand there's asbestos in there, and I understand it's expensive. I get it. But at least have the courtesy of having a conversation. Don't bring a developer in to show this 3-story or 4-story building. It went nowhere. The poor developers were sitting there holding the bag. And it was really unfortunate. So good for the residents of the Delaware District, and let your voices be heard.
Speaking of the landmark status of this building, one of the things you mentioned in your PAFR is the cultural attractions and the notable architecture found in the city of Buffalo. It's important that the city preserves many of these old structures as they give the city this unique character stretching back over 200 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I'm not making a judgment on the city of Buffalo, but Patrick, you know what? Every time we do a show, we're talking about transparency, we're talking about a booklet like this. Last week we talked about Open Book Buffalo, a transparency portal so that the citizens can see everything. You cannot make decisions without having input from the citizens. You just can't do it. So stop doing it.
You mentioned Open Book Buffalo. The report actually has an article with more information on Open Book Buffalo. Now, this is a very exciting new interactive tool on your website that shows residents where the city's spending its money, who with, and what for.
Yeah.
And you've had some really positive feedback on this program, and
Yeah.
residents enjoy seeing the big picture right down to the small little details.
Not only citizens and residents, but also there are some organizations that are very interested in getting more information. They want to learn how to use it better, and we've invited them to our office on the 12th floor of City Hall, and Claire Waldron is taking them through mini seminars so that they can understand how to use it effectively.
Now, in addition to the North Park Library, you've met recently with the Peacemakers. Tell me a little bit about your meeting with them.
So I've been working with the Peacemakers for the last 4 years, and I've been on the street corners with them in the city of Buffalo. And some may remember the great gospel writer Matthew, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God." These people go everywhere across our city, especially on the east side and the west side, and they're trying to do good work. And also, I believe that they have the spirit of Nehemiah. Nehemiah was troubled by the ruins of Jerusalem, and he was troubled by the brokenhearted. The peacemakers are the same. They know the difficult and the difficult streets in our neighborhoods, and they also know some of the people who need help, and they administer to them, they evangelize to them, and they are an asset to our city, especially with the number of homicides that have taken place in our city over the last several years. They are the ones out there comforting families in trying to be helpful. We were at a meeting on Saturday, National Action Network, and it was at the Delane Waring Church, and that's a good place to have it. Most people don't know this, but I'm an amateur historian. I do know this. This church is significant. The whole National Action Network is based, it's a 25-year-old organization based on civil rights. Delane was Reverend Joseph Delane, a minister from South Carolina involved in the civil rights movement. Waring was a United States federal court judge. He was white. He ruled several times on issues having to do with the civil rights movement that favored black people in South Carolina. And Reverend Delane, when he wanted to open this church in Buffalo, he felt he should put Waring's name on it because of his courage. Waring was run out of town in South Carolina. The white establishment, they weren't real happy about what this judge did. And so this is courage in everywhere where you see it, and the Peacemakers are doing the same thing by being on the most difficult streets of Buffalo trying to help people.
Well, Mark, that's all the time we got for this episode of Comptroller's Corner. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Patrick.
And thanks for joining us at home. Make sure to check out the Comptroller's website at city-buffalo.com/controller. Check out our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Twitter handle. And if you want the City of Buffalo Popular Annual Financial Report, give us a call at 851-5255. Thanks for joining us on Comptroller's Corner. On behalf of Comptroller Mark Schroeder, this is Pat Curry signing off.